Here is 3 CBT techniques for social anxiety. Number 1, breathe, but focus on the out breath. Forget about taking massive big inhales and doing box breathing, and just focus on having a slow out breath. When our anxiety is heightened, our heart starts racing, our breathing increases, our thinking becomes very black and white, making it extremely hard to see a solution or just see the broader picture of what's going on, right? We want to feel calm because it's very hard to believe in your head that everyone thinks you're stupid or you look weird when you're calm. Instead of this anxious panic where we believe thoughts like that, we're in a more calm, relaxed state. The usual advice is to take big, deep breaths to calm yourself down, and that can work, but for a lot of people, that can actually make things worse. For myself, I've been in situations where my heart's racing and I take a few big, deep breaths and my heart increases even more. So that just didn't work for me. Ideally, we just want to slow down our out breath, right? Extend that, almost sigh a couple times. And in doing that, you're more likely to actually calm down. Now, there are specific breathing techniques like box breathing and the 7-11 technique and the physiological sigh, and they're great, but they also put a lot of focus on yourself, right? You're focused on calming yourself down, which for social anxiety doesn't really work. So, the second CBT technique is to focus more on others. Pretty much all social anxiety is related to focusing too much on ourselves. It's like 90% of our attention is inward and only 10% is outward. And we want to flip that. And one of the best ways to get outside of this hyper self aware state is to notice what there is to notice. So before an event, maybe give yourself a task of noticing what colour the walls are, or what shoes people are wearing, or give yourself the task of learning 2 new things about someone. And in doing that, you'll be able to recall details that you probably would have missed out on. You'll likely feel calmer because your attention will be more outward. CBT technique number 3, catch and challenge your negative thoughts. Like I mentioned at the start, when we're stressed or overly anxious, our thinking becomes very black and white, and we can fall into these negative thinking patterns that are just making things worse. One of those is overgeneralization. So, I got anxious the last time I met up with these people turns into I'm always going to be anxious around everyone. There's also something called mind reading where we basically convince ourselves that we know what's going on inside someone else's head, which we don't. And 9 times out of 10, when we're mind reading, it's negative. Most people, not just people who get anxious, underestimate how much people like us. So first, we need to spot when we're thinking in these unhelpful ways and then look for other perspectives. If you catch yourself thinking, I'm always so awkward with people, stop and remind yourself that there's been plenty of times where I haven't been awkward, right? So we're trying to break this all or nothing thinking. So to sum all of that up, try to slow down your out breath to just calm your body down. Shift your focus outward so you're not stuck in your head, and start catching those black and white thoughts as they're popping up. And none of this needs to be perfect. Like with everything, it takes time, and it's just all about taking those small steps and improving at each of those things in your own time. If this helped, feel free to subscribe and stuff. And I do offer social anxiety coaching. If that sounds interesting, there'll be a link below. And yeah.